College football panel is considering rule adjustments for the 2023 season. The 4 rule changes being considered are as follows. 1, outlawing consecutive timeouts. This rule would prevent one timeout from being called right after another, which is often done to try to ice place kickers. Rule 2, potentially not extending quarters. This rule could make it so that a first or third quarter would not be extended for an untimed down if the quarter ends on a defensive penalty. In that case, the down would be clocked in the next quarter. The third potential rule is the running clock. According to this rule, the clock will continue to run after an offense gains a first down, except inside 2 minutes and a half. This rule would prevent one timeout being called right after another, which often happens sometimes. But I think this is the kind of the NFL rule. And the fourth one, another running clock rule would be considered perhaps the most controversial. We'll have the clock continue to run after an incomplete pass once the ball has been spotted for play. I think this is the one that's the NFL. So looking at these 4 rule changes, potentially, your thoughts on the 4 rule changes, which one do you think has the best chance of passing, Chris Arledge?
I have no idea which one has the best chance of passing. I have not polled the voters on this, but all of these rules seem designed to speed up the game. And what's strange about that is that I understand Major League Baseball has been doing things to speed up the game, but if you watch baseball on television, you can see why, because it is slow. I don't know that anybody's complaining that college football games are too long. I mean, maybe somebody is, but I haven't gotten I don't remember being in the middle of a fourth quarter of any decent college football game and saying, man, I wish this was over now. So I don't know. I mean, the one thing that all these rules will do, just keep in mind that if the shorter the game is, the more likelihood you have of an upset. Because as the game stretches out, you could imagine if you played an infinite number of quarters, you would almost never have an upset. The best and deepest team would almost always eventually win the game. The shorter the game, the more likely upsets are going to be. I don't know that makes a difference here because I don't have a sense of how many fewer plays you're likely to get in the average game. Does this mean that the average offense goes from 70 plays a game to 65 or 58? I have no idea if you passed all these. So I guess that's a long-winded way of saying I can't possibly answer your question, Greg. I'm sorry. That I'm not sure that any of these rules are truly necessary, and that all these rules are going to do is make it slightly and very slightly more likely that we'll have more upsets. But upsets are one of the best parts of college football, so it's hard to complain about that.
Mark, are any of these things going to make a difference in a game if they're passed?
So we already know that coaches are terrible with clock management as it is, and now you're going to try and make it more challenging for them. If you want me to pick the rule that I'm fine with, is number 1. Fine, sure. I mean, how often does that happen? If you think that's going to shorten the game, go for it. You get one timeout, you can't call another one 30 seconds later. I'm good with that. As far as the number 3, that running clock rule, tank it, throw it in the round file. I don't know why they want to be like the NFL. Or is that number 4?
Number 4, yeah.
Yeah, get rid of that one. I'm just not a fan of trying to mimic the NFL. That's what makes the college game so much better, in my opinion. And then as far as not extending quarters, who cares? Yeah, just roll it over and do it at the start of the next quarter. I don't think that's going to shorten the game. So as far as these rules, like I said, is just leave number 4 off the books, and I can deal with the other 3.
How about you, Eric? You want to leave 1 off the books, 3 off the books, all of them off the books?
I mean, like any recent rule change in almost every sport, these are all dumb. They're all dumb. They're all dumb. Chris, it does take too much time between the beginning of a game and the end of a game. The solution is not taking out football from that. The solution is playing the same amount of football in a shorter amount of time, and none of these do that, right? So that's the issue.
You mean cut commercials, McKinney?
I
Thank
mean,
you.
find a way to do something like that. Put a commercial up as the game's going on. Go picture in picture with it. Do whatever. Rent out the field as a green screen and run commercials on the turf as the game's going on. Figure something out on that. The timeouts, no timeouts back to back to ice place kickers. You give a team 3 timeouts in a half. They can take them whenever they want. If they want to take them 3 in a row, take them 3 in a row. They're not getting 7 of them when they take them, and they don't replenish. That's it. They can take 3, take 3. Having the clock run after certain things where you have ingrained and embedded in your game, this is when the clock stops. This is how we operate in all of these situations. You can't do that. You can't all of a sudden say, okay, no, none of that's true anymore. You got to rethink all of this stuff. It's crazy. It's crazy. I mean, it's you're going to have so many issues. Again, we don't replay the down if there's a defensive penalty at the first quarter or third quarter. That happens 3 times in a year throughout college football. I mean, you're trying to find problems where there aren't problems, and you're eventually going to play whatever it is, 15 fewer plays a game, 20 fewer plays a game. And if you want to shrink the amount of football, just play 3 quarters then. Just cut a whole quarter out and end at the end of the 3 quarters. That'll cut things down significantly. All of the rule changes, the baseball stuff too, all of that stuff is just kind of like you're just doing stuff because you feel like it every offseason, and it always comes across as just kind of lunacy for it, because no one is going to go, man, I really hate college football, but if that game is 12 minutes shorter, I'm going to watch it, and I'm going to start going, and I'm going to be a diehard fan. Nobody's watching baseball this year because all of a sudden there's a pitch clock. Like, oh, that makes me excited about baseball. I'm going to be a baseball fan. The timing and all that stuff is crazy when you're changing how the game functions and how you go in and play the game.
You want to shorten the game, fix the officiating, and fix instant replay, and that will shorten.
I mean, that's it, right? Take your commercial breaks during replay. You've been okay building in an extra 15, 20 minutes over the course of a game, a lot of these games, for officials to look at what you're looking at for 20 minutes and then typically come up with an answer that no sane person could come up with. I mean, that's you can start there.
Hey, if you polled the Pac-12 officials on what the existing clock management rules are before these rule changes, would they know? Like, if you change these rules and you told the Pac-12 officials, here's the new rule, would they say, I didn't even realize the old rule? Because my impression is they might not.
Forget calling back-to-back timeouts to ice kickers. USC got a timeout during a play at Utah. Right? I mean, you can take any number of timeouts whenever you want in the Pac-12. So I don't know how they're going to do this.
And you can start running the clock no matter when you want to. Also, it's pretty remarkable.
And you know what? The irony of this.
What's that?
I was going to say, the irony of this whole timeout thing is, if Pete Carroll would not have taken that extra timeout against Stanford, he would not have lost that game when Mosique McCurtis got switched to the other side of the field, but Pete Carroll thought he was being smart.
Yeah, well, there's some other things he could have done differently in that game too, but look, I'm not sure that I want Lincoln Riley to have to figure out the new clock management rules, because let's be honest, as much as I love Lincoln, he struggled with clock management last year. I'm not sure I want to add to the complexity for him.
Thank you.
Well, I tell you, to me, the actual game is fine. Okay. College is so good that even the pros have kind of fed off of the college game, going way back to where they put the goalposts, when they used to actually have the goalposts for the most ridiculous reason in the middle of the end zone. And then the pros, they pick up the 2-point conversion, right? But I think if they really want to shorten the game, shorten the commercials. Okay. That is unbelievably long. Maybe what they need is a halftime just built on commercials. Forget about the halftime analysis for any length. Just go one commercial after another, because nobody pays attention to the commercials unless they're the Super Bowl commercials. And I tell you, the one that frosts me, I wish they'd had a rule that says you can't call a commercial after a kickoff. You know, you get a commercial after a score, then they come back for the kickoff, and then they go to another commercial. That just, to me, that ruins it, the flow of the game. So I don't see any of these rules amounting to anything. It's just like they're trying to reinvent the wheel.